Hello, I'm the Pageant Nerd and thank you for checking out my Miss Universe 2022 recap and a look ahead to Miss Universe 2023. First and foremost, I'm sorry for taking so long to get this video done. As you can probably hear, and as you might have seen on my Instagram, I had some sinus surgery recently, which was pretty much the complete opposite of fun. So thank you for your patience. Anyway, I'll get to my recap shortly, but I just wanted to see if you saw Miss Universe parody on Saturday Night Live recently. It was quite funny seeing Aubrey Plaza from The White Lotus acting as Miss France. And obviously that was an inspiration from the 2018 prelims introductions where Miss France at the time has been somewhat ridiculed for her breathless intro. Anyway, let's get to it. I'm kicking things off with a state of play, the facts and figures about the 2022 pageant, setting the scene for the competition itself. The 71st Miss Universe, officially the 2022 edition, but held on January 14, 2023, took place at the New Orleans Montreal Convention Center, the 38th time the pageant was held in the United States. With a new owner coming on board less than 3 months prior, this was kind of a transitional pageant, held after IMG's departure and without the full influence of the Thailand-based JKN Global Group. In short, the quality of the finals night show was average at best. The musical entertainment was lively and in keeping with the host city, but as a TV program, it was a far cry from the slick productions we've seen in recent years in Manila, Bangkok and Eilat. And the stuff-up during the selection committee intros was inexcusable. I did, however, like the new look sashes, and allowing the delegates to introduce themselves is always a nice touch. There were originally 86 contestants, but Kazakhstan pulled out due to lack of support from her national director, and Latvia withdrew due to COVID-19. Especially sad for Miss Norway, who also tested positive for COVID on the final day and was absent during the Parade of Nations, so technically 83 contestants competed. We saw the debut of Bhutan and the return of Seychelles, whose only previous appearance was in 1995. We also welcomed back Trinidad and Tobago after 5 years. With Jeannie Mai Jenkins and Olivia Culpo, we had an all-female hosting duo, the first since 2001, when Elle Macpherson and Naomi Campbell presented the 50th anniversary edition from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. And I thought they both did a great job. Jeannie and Olivia, that is. Elle and Naomi, not so much. Then it was time for the first cut. The shocks. So many shocks. Last year we had some pleasant surprises, and we had some of those again this year, but 2022 was more notable for the shock exclusion of so many fan favourites. Let's have a look. Having gotten used to 20 or 21 semi-finalists from 2018 to 2020, cutting back to 16 the past 2 years has felt weird, don't you think? Even more so when so many favourites missed out in the 71st Miss Universe. Let's start off with the pleasant surprises, and Laos won the fan vote to secure its first ever Miss Universe placement. Laos debuted at most of the international pageants in 2017, including Miss Universe, and on debut made top 8 at Miss International and top 20 at Miss Grand International. But quite shocking to realise it was the only Southeast Asian nation to place at Miss Universe 2022, with so many other standout delegates from that region. We had Australia, Canada and Haiti back in the semi-finals after short absences, as well as Salma Hayek lookalike, Portugal's Telma Madeira, who made top 8 at Miss Earth 2018, as did Miss Universe 2022 sister Celeste Cortese of the Philippines, and Colombia's Valeria Ayos, top 5 at Miss Universe 2021. Two-time winner Trinidad and Tobago, which missed the past 4 Miss Universes, came back in the best possible way by placing for the first time since 2006. India, gunning for a back-to-back, also made the top 16, and it was great to see Diva Tarai make the semi-finals. Here's the full list of 16 semi-finalists. Broken down by region, there were 10 from the Americas, 5 of whom were Caribbean island nations, plus 2 from Europe, just 2 from Asia, and 1 each from Oceania and Africa. This of course signalled the end of the Philippines' 12-year placement streak, and with the USA continuing to place, the Stars and Stripes now holds the longest active placement streak, also with 12. Thailand missed the cut for a second straight year, especially surprising given the Miss Universe organisation is now Thai-owned. We also saw Vietnam's 4-year streak come to an end, and Indonesia, which missed last year's pageant in Israel, failed to make the first cut on its return. Other surprising exclusions, depending on who you were backing, included Italy, Mexico, Cambodia, Guatemala, Brazil, Aruba, and Jamaica. Philippines has been announced as the 2022 El Tocuyo, the most hyped delegate that failed to place. So was JKN making a statement by excluding the likes of the Philippines, Vietnam, and especially Thailand? Maybe so. Compared to the IMG era, which was looking for, as it claims, for a woman of substance compared to the Trump era, it would appear that Kun An is putting her money where her mouth is and 100% legitimately looking for a transformational leader, one who is focused on making an impact and inspiring others as they are about style and glamour. It's no longer enough to be giving the impression of being socially aware. Now you really need to demonstrate the impact of your actions, and with the exclusion of Thailand, hopefully an indication of no favouritism. Alright, now let's have a quick look at the competition itself. It's been a while since finals night, so I'll cover the competition bits relatively quickly, as I'm sure you've debriefed those enough. But I will say I loved the bespoke capes each contestant created and brought to Miss Universe. Just another brief opportunity to demonstrate the delegates' advocacies and personalities. It was nice that during the finals night telecast, colour commentators Catriona Gray and Zuri Hall, who also did a great job by the way, spoke about each semi-finalist's cape. Great to see the top 16 compete in both swimsuit and evening gown, just like the good old days. And my main takeout about the latter was that it paid to be daring. The USA and Venezuela brought the drama with their spectacular gowns, both of them real showstoppers. I guess not surprising since they're both fashion designers. Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico were more classic in their looks, stunning nonetheless. But to me, for Colombia, South Africa and Curacao, I preferred their prelims looks. Their finals night looks, while beautiful, were a little on the safe side for me. Trinidad and Tobago's gorgeous gown, and in particular its colour, reminded me of her countrywoman, the wonderful Arlene Peterkin, who made the top 6 in 1995. And then it was on to that scary and massive cut to the top 5. There was much talk this year about the drastic cut from the top 16 semi-finalists straight to a top 5, bypassing the top 10 altogether. But something you may not be aware of, in the pageant's early days the format mirrored that of 2022. A semi-final field of 15 or 16 that was then cut in one go to a final 5. The number of semi-finalists was reduced to 12 from 1971 to 83, and even further to 10 from 1984 to 2002, but in all cases it then jumped to a top 5. It was only from 2003 onwards that there was a top 10 after the first cut. Imagine having just 10 semi-finalists these days. The uproar. In the end, the cream very much rose to the top. An incredibly strong top 5, and one without any major surprises. While Curaçao hadn't placed as high since Werner Vasquez made top 6 in 1997 after winning prelims, the gorgeous Gabriela dos Santos was nonetheless well regarded by many. Likewise, no surprise to see Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, USA and Venezuela advance after their impressive performances. In terms of Caribbean island delegates, this marked the first time in Miss Universe history there were 3 of them in the top 5. That's excluding Venezuela, which, while it does have a Caribbean coastline, is normally considered a mainland country of either the Americas or South America. There were 5 prior occasions in which 2 Caribbean queens made the top 5 or top 6, as is shown here. Colombia and South Africa were arguably the 2 most highly fancied contenders that missed the top 5. India's dreams of a back-to-back were also extinguished at this stage. After the judges' question round, I felt Venezuela and USA had a lock on 2 of the top 3 spots, with Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico fighting it out for the last one. Let's see what the implications were when the final 3 were revealed. Having witnessed the likes of the Philippines, South Africa and Mexico reach the top 3 multiple times in recent years, it was somewhat of a step back in time to see the likes of the USA, Venezuela and Dominican Republic do so in 2022. It was the USA's first time in the top 3 since 2015. Venezuela was last there in 2018, and before that, its 2013 crown. And for the Dominican Republic, its first top 3 since finishing first runner-up in 2009. Since I'd predicted Puerto Rico to win the crown, I was disappointed not to see Ashley in the final 3, especially given her strong answer here, but this was an incredibly strong top 3 nonetheless, one of the best in recent years. The performance of each contestant in the final word was exceptional, and I found the USA's and Venezuela's responses to be the most impactful. Even as a die-hard pageant fan, I sometimes find these rehearsed responses lacking in substance, but Arbany and Amanda well and truly delivered.
It is so important to invest in others, invest in our community, and use your unique talent to make a difference. We all have something special, and when we plant those seeds to other people in our life, we transform them and we use that as a vehicle for change.
Because Miss Universe has demonstrated that they choose women who inspire with their messages and transform with their actions. And that's precisely what I would like to do. I'm a fashion designer by profession, but I'm a designer of dreams as a woman. Thank you so much.
Yes, Arbany's answer went over the time limit, and those rules should be adhered to better in future. But I think it's the conviction of her delivery and the content that sealed the deal, not the extra time she managed to use up. Okay, so then we moved on to the big reveal, the crowning moment. So we got to the final results, with the Dominican Republic announced as second runner-up, Venezuela first runner-up, and the USA Miss Universe 2022. Here are some of the vital stats arising from those results. The USA extended its lead on the list of most Miss Universe crowns with 9. A Venezuelan victory would have placed it in equal first on 8. The USA, champion of 2012, closed a single nation's 10-year victory gap for the second time in 3 years, after Mexico did so in 2020 following its 2010 win. Could this be a signal for 2013 winner Venezuela this December? Or 2014 title holder Colombia next year? For the fourth time in Miss Universe history, the USA and Venezuela faced off in the top two, with the USA emerging victorious for the third time. Only two other combinations of countries have squared off in the top two multiple times: the Dominican Republic and Venezuela, and the Philippines and USA. Both of those head-to-heads are one win apiece. The USA's win-loss record in the top two improves to 9-9, while Venezuela's slips to 7-7. It was the USA's first time in the top two since Nia Sanchez finished first runner-up in 2014, and Venezuela's first since Gabriela Isler won the 2013 crown. The USA closes the gap between it and Venezuela on the leaderboard of most alpha pageant titles, that being Miss Universe and Miss World combined, and also Big Four crowns, also factoring in Miss International and Miss Earth. It was also the 8th time a Miss Universe was crowned on home soil. 7 of those victories were by Americans and 1 by a Puerto Rican, Denise Quiñones, in 2001. Arbany Gabriel becomes the oldest Miss Universe in history, beating previous record holder Andrea Meza of Mexico by just over 2 years. Interesting to see Arbany answered her top 5 question with that very topic, stating she'd like to see an increase in the upper age limit. 2022 was her final year of eligibility under current rules. Arbany, the 10th Miss Texas USA to represent her country at Miss Universe, became the second after the late Chelsea Smith in 1995 to win the international title. On both occasions, the Texan Queens were crowned by an Indian predecessor. Arbany was only the 3rd woman to win Miss Universe in a predominantly black gown, after Karen Baldwin in 1982 and Rio Mori in 2007. Now for a super quick look at how I fared with my final hot picks. I correctly predicted 9 of the top 16, plus Spain, whom I had as a wild card. I had 3 of the top 5 and 2 of the top 3, although I was unable to achieve my own back-to-back, having correctly predicted Harnaz to win last year. I correctly predicted Amanda would be first runner-up, but had Arbany as second runner-up instead of the winner. Now for some random observations coming out of Miss Universe 2022 and looking ahead to the 72nd edition. Firstly, I wanted to make mention of Harnaz Sandhu's farewell. I couldn't help but be a little sad for her, as I didn't feel she was the strong, courageous woman we fell in love with in Eilat and admired throughout her reign. Being helped by Jeannie on stage for her final walk, then tripping slightly, and the camera not framing correctly to show the prints on her dress honouring her Indian predecessors, Sushmita Sen and Lara Dutta. Harnaz had been through so much during her reign, and while it was a beautifully emotional send-off, I had have hoped her final moments as Miss Universe were more assured. Many Venezuelan fans felt Amanda should have won, and I truly believe it would have been a tight finish between her and Arbany. Most other years, Amanda would have walked away with the crown. It was just an incredibly competitive year. It was wonderful to see Amanda give credit to Arbany on social media after the pageant, encouraging her fans to support and celebrate the new Miss Universe. A real class act. Hats off to the Miss Venezuela organisation for an incredible effort preparing Amanda for Miss Universe, especially given the political and economic situation in their country. As I'd covered in a video last year, the Miss Venezuela directors had come under fire for their previously underwhelming results since taking over from Osmel Sosa in 2018. Of course, Amanda herself played a huge role in that resurgence, but I'm excited to see how Diana Silva evolves as she gets ready for her tilt at the Miss Universe crown in December. The 2022 results were the clearest reminder the new owners are looking for transformational leaders. Countries like the Philippines, by their own admission, are now recalibrating their strategy, and as usual, we're now seeing a flurry of suggestions as to who might be suitable to compete for national titles this year. A transformational leader doesn't need to be a philanthropist. It can be someone who makes a difference in their chosen field, for example fashion. Both of the 2022 top two were fashion designers focused on sustainability and helping others. Thailand was nonetheless awarded the Social Impact Prize, and it's nice to see that award continuing. I hope it develops the same level of prestige as Miss Congeniality, jointly won this time by Chile and Malta, and the yet-to-be-announced Best National Costume. Something that really bothered me was the almost accidental reveal of the competition format, namely the 16:5 cut. Rumours initially came from contestants, and were then confirmed by Paula Shugart as she was jumping into an elevator days before finals night. As a marketing specialist in my day job, I'm regularly bemused by the lack of professionalism shown by the Miss Universe organisation in the management of seemingly valuable information. How they don't see ahead of time that these format changes might be a PR-worthy hook. Once it settles in, I'm hoping JKN will help bring a higher quality of communication strategy to Miss Universe. The securing of a host country for 2023 already is a sign of positive change being implemented by JKN. I'll expand on that shortly. My heart went out to Maria Fernanda or Mafe Aristizabal of Colombia, whose path to Miss Universe was such a long and complicated one. If you're not aware, she was originally crowned Señorita Colombia 2019 to compete at Miss Universe 2020. But there was a change in franchise owner in Colombia which sidelined Mafe from competing in Miss Universe that year. She was ultimately appointed to the title of Miss Universe Colombia 2022 and permitted to compete in New Orleans. I can't help but think she was hoping for a better placement than top 16, but it was nonetheless wonderful to see her dream fulfilled of competing on the Miss Universe stage, and how wonderfully she competed. In another case of better late than never, Andreina Martinez was originally meant to represent the Dominican Republic in Israel for the 2021 pageant, but contracted COVID just before her departure. From my perspective, it was a blessing in disguise, as her evolution in the past year was incredible. That extra time to prepare worked in her favour. It was wonderful to have so many former title holders featured, obviously led by co-host and Miss Universe 2012 Olivia Culpo, plus Miss Universe 2018 Catriona Gray as mentioned before, and Miss Universe 1978 Margaret Gardner. On the selection committee we had former title holders from 1998 Wendy Fitzwilliam and 2010 Jimena Navarrete. Then former Miss USAs Gretchen Polhemus and Carol Gist were interviewed by Zuri Hall, who even mentioned Gretchen's and Carol's final results at Miss Universe. Nice job, researchers. As I said earlier, overall I felt the show production was pretty average, but I did like a lot of the camera framing, allowing some good establishing shots of the top 16, top 5 and top 3, like the old days, and close-ups during the latter rounds. It was also great to see some post-pageant photos of the top 3 altogether, something we hadn't had in a while. Maybe some without Anne would have been nice. I couldn't help but mention that Arbany's victory at Miss Universe was a vindication after her controversial victory at Miss USA, when some of her sister queens accused pageant organisers of unfairly favouring her.
And let me tell you, winning Miss Universe after going through all that is the sweetest victory. And it's actually inspired a lot of people because, you know, what was going on was in the public eye. And the fact that I was able to still win Miss Universe, a lot of people are really inspired by the strength. And so for me, I thought this happened in my life to hopefully show people resiliency and how to just keep going no matter what.
And of course, we have a new Miss USA, Morgan Romano of North Carolina, who replaces Arbany as the national title holder. Congratulations, Morgan. And with the delayed 2022 edition, we're blessed with 2 Miss Universes this calendar year. So let's look ahead to Miss Universe 2023. We're already a couple of weeks past Miss Universe 2022, so it's only fair I include a look ahead to the 2023 pageant. This is especially so since we already had a host country announced, something we haven't had at Miss Universe in many years. While Thailand was rumoured to be hosting Miss Universe 23, given the recent purchase of the MUO by JKN Global Group, out of nowhere, El Salvador was revealed to be hosting the 72nd Miss Universe pageant, most likely in early December. This was an exciting development, hopefully reflective of the positive impact JKN will have on Miss Universe. From memory, the last time the following year's venue was announced during finals night was in 1995. When South Africa was revealed as the 1996 host. As it turned out, that never eventuated. Financial reasons were cited, although 1996 was also the first year of Donald Trump's co-ownership of Miss Universe. The pageant ended up being held in Las Vegas instead. A sign of things to come maybe, with Vegas being the default location when none others could be found. Both the Trump and IMG eras placed little to no importance on securing host venues well ahead of the pageant, or reverting to the same old locations for lack of more interesting alternatives. Televised scoring will also make a return in 2023, the first time the judges' marks are shown on screen since 2010. I'll be curious to see if there's any modernisation of this process. As it was jokingly stated on Saturday Night Live, Miss Universe is, I quote, one of several shows still on the air where we rank women. While as pageant fans this is an exciting development, how does this sit with the whole notion of women's empowerment? I'm curious to see how this one will play out. We'll have men on the selection committee and also co-hosting, but thankfully for me, not Steve Harvey. Apparently Kun An wants someone who'll be well rehearsed for the show. Ouch. Alright, that's a wrap on my recap of Miss Universe 2022 and quick look ahead to the 2023 pageant. Thanks again for your patience. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, I encourage you to check out some of my other videos and consider subscribing to my channel and supporting it by hitting the thanks button. I'll be back with my next video very soon, I promise. But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me, the Pageant Nerd.